Today we have 3 points to share with you about pregnancy after loss. Key point number 3, fear and anxiety during pregnancy after loss. Now stick around till the end of the video. Toni and I have some important tips for you to help you overcome each of these fears and anxieties. Let's get started.
Point number 1, pregnancy after loss can be frightening. Some people think that getting pregnant after a loss, such as a miscarriage, stillbirth, or other type of pregnancy loss, means that everything is okay, that you're okay, and this new baby will be okay. What people don't realize is that there are a lot of emotions felt during a pregnancy after a loss, and it can be frightening. There are a lot of fears and anxiety that parents can experience while pregnant after a previous loss. There are a lot of thoughts and questions that can run through your mind. For example, finally, a positive pregnancy test. We're pregnant. Will I lose this one too? Will we get to keep this one? Excitement turns into feelings of trepidation, cautiousness, and hesitancy. You can have conflicting feelings such as excitement and anticipation mixed with worry and a heightened sense to guard oneself.
Number 2, for the most part, all of this is unseen. In other words, it's unknown to those around you. They don't even have a clue. I'm sure you've experienced this. It just feels like that no one understands what you're going through. Expectations are different too. They expect that you should be happy because they're not even thinking about the baby loss that you've had in the past. It's just they think that everything's healthy, so everything's fine. We've already moved on. The reality is that you are all too familiar with the knowledge that not all pregnancies end with the joyous new beginning of raising a child. There is a fear that you may lose this one too. Each person differs on that level. That level of fear is going to be different with each experience. I know it was different even for each of us in the same experience with the same baby. Now we'll get to the third and final point in just a second. Hello, we are Geoff and Toni Brabeck, the founders of Our Little Sparrows. Now Toni and I hope that you are getting value out of this episode and especially this pregnancy after loss series. Stick around, we're going to have another episode after this where we talk about our third key point of pregnancy after loss, specifically triggers and PTSD.
Point number 3, fear will always find its way in. Here's the thing about fear. Fear will always creep its way into your mind. Even when you get further into your pregnancy around the 3rd trimester where you can feel your baby's kicks on a regular basis, you have that reassurance they are moving, growing, and kicking. Fear and worry still find a way in. Part of that is because we know that anything can happen at any time during the pregnancy. The other part is that it is the nature of fear to create anxiety within you. Our experience of losing a baby, it's natural for us to not want to have that repeat experience.
So you've stuck around to the end of the episode, and Toni and I promised that we'd have some tips on how to face these fears and anxieties in your life. So what can we do? Here are some helpful tips that helped us. Number 1, it's very simple. Share your story. Just start talking, essentially, right? Know that you are not alone in this. With 1 in 4 pregnancies ending in miscarriage or stillbirth, that is a lot of pregnancies in the US alone that end in loss. So likely there is another parent in your circle that has also experienced a similar loss. But like I just said a moment ago, just start talking. You won't know until you start sharing your story. So share as much as you're comfortable with, of course, it's up to you, but you'll always be surprised, almost always, I can't say for sure, that you'll find those others that you didn't have a clue, that they've also gone through a pregnancy loss. So again, let's just start sharing our story.
Tip number 2, stay in the present. In my experience, often my mind would run away from me and create a scenario that doesn't really exist. I have to bring myself back to the present. I created my own grounding exercise, which we'll put the link in the cards above if you want to watch that video. But it reminds me to focus on what is and not what I think it is.
Tip number 3 is to reach out for support. So family or friends who you know who have had a similar experience are perfect. Or you can even go to someone that you know is sensitive towards your loss and your grief. That's important. Look for a support group. That's another option. Of course, you're really stepping out of your comfort zone, right? So do it when you're ready and when you feel like you're prepared. Locally, preferably, but if there isn't one, there is so many online. Instagram, Facebook, They're easily and readily found just by doing a quick search. Typically, pregnancy and infant loss is a good search term, search term, and then also just baby loss in general. You search that and you'll find it. Of course, there's us. That's why we're here on YouTube, Our Little Sparrows. Toni and I personally work with families who have gone through pregnancy and infant loss, and even parents that are currently walking that journey that have been pre-diagnosed. So we support subsequent pregnancies. We will share our information and the other resources that we know in the description below, and check them out and see if it's the right one for you, and we would love to hear from you. So you could also reach out to your pastor, a mental health provider, and or even a doctor. Share your experience with them. They can direct you and guide you through some of those hard questions, and even help you to find some tangible coping tools for the duration of your pregnancy.
We hope you found this episode helpful. We want you to know you are not alone. You are loved. Your baby will always be cherished, and we are here to support you in any way we can. If you got value out of this video, please give us a thumbs up so others can find Our Little Sparrows. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell to get updates for when we release new content every week.
If you have comments, if you have questions, that's what Toni and I are here for. Leave them in the video down below. We love chatting and answering those questions. If you're watching us in the replay, you can watch our next episode in this weekly podcast, where we discuss triggers and PTSD with subsequent pregnancies. And if you click or tap below, if you're interested in our grief series, The Pregnancy Journey, grieving from diagnosis to the loss of your baby and beyond. Thank you for joining us.